I was reading this article on Spiked. Spiked Online is this magazine from the UK that I sometimes read. They were talking about the grooming gang scandal in the UK and how it was covered up mostly because police officers and political officials and so on were afraid that they might be branded racist for dealing with the facts. Namely, as stated in the article, the facts are that the majority of these grooming gang suspects were men of Pakistani Muslim heritage, and the majority of the girls were white girls. But then even Spiked says when they talk of racism, the threat of racism, they are implying that it's white people being the racist ones. And I find that a bit odd. Because if you are a Pakistani Muslim living in the UK, it's highly likely that you are living in a neighborhood that is predominantly non-white anyway. Right? Predominantly multicultural. You have these areas in the UK that are like 80% immigrant or 90% immigrant. And for you to live there and then to go out of your way, meaning outside of your neighborhood, to find white girls to abuse, doesn't that make you the racist? This is an overlooked aspect of the whole scandal, is that the perpetrators were racists, racially targeting white girls because they weren't Muslim and weren't brown, right? That's racism. We never talk about the racism of the minorities who target white people to victimize them, right? That's insane. And I understand we can't say on our end of the story, we can't say all Pakistani people are bad. That's obviously not true, but I've never heard anybody say that. I haven't heard Nigel Farage or so say that all Pakistani men are bad. But what I am saying is that if in a community like in Rotherham, 40% of Pakistani males were involved in these grooming gangs. 40% of them. That means every Pakistani family in that town has a brother or an uncle or a father or a son or a cousin or some other relative involved in raping white girls. And they did nothing. They said no word. They didn't report anyone to the police. Excuse me. That does make you a bad community.